Europe is undoubtedly one of the most favorite travel destinations for us Indians. Be it the Alps of Switzerland, the canals of Venice, or the blue and white islands of Greece, it's truly a dream destination. And while planning a trip to Europe is a task in itself, probably the biggest and the most difficult challenge that you'll come across is sorting out the visa requirements and getting that stamp on your passport. Recently, we did a 17 days Europe trip and spent a good amount of time first researching the visa process and then getting all our documents and paperwork in order. And even though it was our first time applying for it, we got our visa in just a week's time. In this video, I'm going to share with you all the details that you need to know while applying for a Schengen visa. How did we manage to get ours in just 7 days? And also at the end of this video, I'll give you 3 tips which will help improve your chances of getting the visa approved. So stay tuned till the end and I'm sure you'll find it very helpful. If you like this video, do consider subscribing to my channel Trippy Lens, and if you have any feedbacks, do let me know in the comment section. I also post regularly on Instagram. My Insta handle is the Trippy Lens, so make sure you follow me on Instagram as well. For now, let's get started with this video. Schengen Tourist Visa is a document that you need to enter European countries that are part of a region known as the Schengen region for the purpose of travel or any short-term stay of duration less than 90 days. Most of the European countries are part of the Schengen region, for example, Austria, Switzerland, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Iceland, Spain. So having this one Schengen visa will grant you access to any or all of these countries. There are 3 types of Type C Schengen visa, which is basically the short stay tourist visa: single entry, double entry and multiple entry. As the name suggests, if you have a single entry visa, you can enter and exit the Schengen region only once. With double entry, you can enter the Schengen region twice. And if you have a multiple entry visa, then you can enter and exit the Schengen regions multiple times. Also, there are some countries not part of the Schengen region, such as Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, Serbia, etc., that let you enter if you have a valid multiple entry Schengen visa. The visa application process in India has been outsourced to a company called VFS Global, Visa Facilitation Services Global. Each country has its own website and you need to apply through the embassy of one country. Now, if you're going to just one country in Europe, it's a no-brainer. You'll go to the VFS website of that country and start your application process. But what generally happens when you're visiting Europe is you tend to visit multiple countries. In that case, how do you pick that one country through whose embassy you need to apply for the visa? Well, there are 2 simple rules to decide this, and you need to follow these rules in order. The first rule is you have to apply to the country in which you are going to spend the maximum number of days, or the country which is your main destination. For example, if you are going for a 10 days trip and you will be spending 7 days in Switzerland and 3 days in Germany. So Switzerland is your main destination and you should apply through the Swiss embassy. The second rule comes into picture if you're going to spend almost the same number of days in multiple countries. In that case, you need to apply through the country which is going to be your port of entry in Europe. For example, in your 10 days trip, if you're going to spend 5 days in Germany and 5 days in Switzerland, but you will be landing in Germany, spending 5 days there and then going to Switzerland. In this case, Germany is your port of entry in Europe and you should be applying through the Germany embassy. When should you apply for your visa? The official website says that you should apply at least 15 days before your date of travel. But as most of you would know, post-COVID, the number of travels to Europe have increased drastically and there's a heavy workload on the embassy. So I would highly recommend that you apply at least 1 to 2 months before your date of travel. Now, you also need to have a rough plan and an itinerary for your travel so that you know which are the countries that you're planning to visit as part of this trip. Once you have figured out the embassy, let's say you're going to apply through the Austrian embassy, you will visit the VFS website of Austria, make an account there, and you'll have to fill a application form wherein they'll ask you for some basic details like your name, your passport details, the countries that you're planning to visit, your rough date of travel. Once you're done filling the application form, the next step is you have to book an appointment wherein you have to pick a place, a date and time on which you'll go and submit your visa documents. Now, in some cases, you might also need to travel to a different city if the embassy does not have an office in your city. Once you're done taking the appointment, you need to pay a visa application fees Please note that this is different from the visa fees that you will be paying on the date of your appointment. Once you have taken an appointment, you obviously have to start arranging your documents and making sure your paperwork is in order. On the day of your appointment, you will travel to the visa application center, submit all your documents, submit your passport, pay the visa fees, and yeah, that's it. That's how you apply for a European Schengen visa. After this starts the wait period, in which you can do nothing but just hope and pray that you will get your passport back with the visa stamped on it. Most important section, the list of documents that you need while applying for the visa. The list of documents might seem endless, but the purpose behind each and every document is just one. You need to prove to the European Embassy that you are not going to settle illegally in their country. So behind every document that I'm going to talk about, there are two reasons. Either they are checking whether you have sufficient funds or money to cover your entire trip and come back to India, or do you have a strong connection or a strong reason to come back to India? As in, do you have a job in India? Do you have a business back here? You have a family? You have a property? The reason could be anything. This is the entire set of documents that we had to submit as part of our visa application process, and as you can see, there are a lot of documents. So let's quickly start talking about them. First set of documents are generated from the VFS website. Once you pay the visa fees, you need to take a printout of these documents. The very first is the appointment letter. If multiple people are applying using the same account, there will be just one appointment letter for all of you. It basically mentions your name, your passport number, your appointment date and time, and the visa category. It also has the address of the visa application office and a Google Maps location, which is very handy. And it also has the receipt for the visa application fees that you paid on the website. Next document is the application for Schengen visa. It's a 3 to 4 page documents that you need to fill beforehand. And it's a pretty straightforward document. You just need to fill basic details about yourself, your name, your country of birth, your type of travel document, your passport details, and your purpose of journey, and any additional information that you might want to share with them. And most importantly, it is in this form wherein they'll ask you for the number of entries requested, which is single entry, 2 entries, or multiple entries. I would highly recommend that you always apply for a multiple entry visa, because the cost of the visa remains the same across the 3 categories. And if you get the multiple entry visa, it gives you the flexibility to just roam around and like enter and leave the Schengen region as many times as you want. It's actually up to them to decide which kind of visa they'll grant you, but at least you can tell them your preference. You need to sign the form, and you also need to paste a passport size photograph. There is a visa declaration form wherein it says that you're aware that the processing time takes up to 15 days and they are processed on a first in first out basis. Then there's a consent form and a declaration of entry and transit, wherein you're basically telling them that you have proof of immediate departure, you have a medical certificate, etc. This document is the checklist, which is quite handy because it mentions all the documents that you need to take along with you, and you have yes, no, not applicable. So while you're submitting the application, while you're submitting your documents, before that make sure that you have ticked wherever necessary yes, no, or not applicable, and arrange all the documents in the same order. Just follow the order and it will make your life so much easier. Document which is not mentioned in the list of documents on the checklist is a new entry, which is obviously your COVID vaccination certificate. So make sure you have it printed as well. You need to have your passports, the original passport as well as a photocopy of your passport. And in case if you have a passport that has expired, then you need to take that along with you as well. And your passport should be valid for at least 3 months after the date of your travel. So let's say if you're traveling in September, then your passport should be valid at least till December. Along with the passports, you also need to take 2 passport size photographs. The specification of the passport size photo differs for each country. So when you go to click your, when you go to get your photograph clicked, just tell that person that this is the country for which I'm applying, and he'll know the specifications and accordingly click the picture for you. Important document is your travel insurance which is a mandatory document. Your travel insurance document should mention your date of travel, the countries that you're going to visit, and I think the minimum coverage is somewhere around $30,000. We got ours from Digit, the Digit insurance company, and we had to pay 1,500 rupees for the two of us, and we got a coverage of around $50,000 for a duration of 17 days. So make sure your insurance covers the entire duration of your trip. The next are your flight tickets. Unfortunately, you need to show confirmed to and fro flight tickets from India, and you also need to show tickets for any internal transfers that you might be doing in Europe, that is going from one country to the other. Now you can either ask an agent to make dummy bookings for you, or what we did was we had booked refundable flight tickets by paying obviously an extra amount, and once we got the visa, we cancelled those refundable flight tickets and paid a lesser amount to book the non-refundable flight tickets. Next set of bookings are your accommodation bookings. So you need to show them accommodation details for each and every day of your travel. It can be anything, a hotel, Airbnb, guest house, anything works. And this is pretty simple because now whether you book through booking.com or Make My Trip, most of the bookings are 100% refundable. Next set of documents is applicable for you only if you're planning to do a road trip in Europe. So you need to show them the bookings of your rental cars. I already made a video about the entire rental car booking process and about our driving experience in Europe. So in case if you haven't seen that video, do check that out as well. Next document is a detailed cover letter explaining your purpose of stay and why you want to visit their country. And trust me, you must go overboard explaining to them why you want to visit their country. Praise the food, the culture, the beauty of their country. Tell them how much and how excited you are to explore their beautiful country. Details that I mentioned was that I, Soumya, holding passport number so and so, I would like to travel to your country from these dates, and I'm applying through your consulate as Austria is my entry point. And I also mentioned details about my husband because we both were applying together. And tourism is the main purpose of the visit, as you want to see some of the most beautiful countries of Europe, and Austria has always been our topmost bucket list destination. And I've mentioned that I'm applying for a multiple entry Schengen visa. I've also mentioned that these are the list of documents that I have applied, that I have submitted along with my application to support my case. You also need to submit an itinerary. It need not be a very detailed itinerary, it can be quite high level. So for example, I've made this in Excel, and I actually gave a quite detailed itinerary just like to help build my case. So what I have here is all my dates of travel, a country field wherein I'm telling them on this particular date, this is the country that I'm going to be in. What is the activity or my sightseeing plan for each of those dates, and what is the mode of transportation that I'll be using for each date, and also the accommodation or the hotel details for each date. Let me know in the comment section if you want a format of both the cover letter and the itinerary, and I'll share it with you. But I would definitely recommend that try and be as detailed as possible in these two documents because it's really gonna help build your case to them. Next set of documents are basically your proof of funds, and one of the most important documents wherein you're showing them that you have enough money with you to cover your trip and come back. 3 months of bank account statement, at least 3 months statement is what you need, and you cannot just get it printed at any place. You have to visit your bank and they'll print the statement on their letterhead, stamp it and give it to you, and this is the only valid document that will be acceptable at the visa office. You can also show some supporting documents. For example, if you have any investments, like we had mutual funds, SIPs, so we printed the statements for all of these and added them as supporting documents in our case. Make sure that you do not do any big transaction a day or two before getting your statement. Basically, they want to see that you have incoming and outgoing transaction in your account. Also need to show them your last 3 years of ITR, basically your income tax returns for the last 3 years, which will basically tell them that you are an honest, hard-working and earning citizen of the country, and you're paying your taxes basis your income level. Those people who are working in corporate jobs, for example, I work with an MNC, So the first document is the NOC or the no objection certificate from your company. So what you have to do is basically apply for leaves, get your leaves approved from your manager, and then your HR will give you this letter saying that you're an employee of this company since your date of joining, and you will be on approved leave for your dates of travel and will be joining back work after your trip, and that you are going to be bearing all the expenses of travel and stay. Along with that, you also need to show them at least 3 months of your payslip, which will basically show them that you are a legit employee of the company and you're getting paid. Those people who have their own startup or their own business, so you need to show a certificate of incorporation or certificate of registration for your company. The last 3 months of bank account statements for your company. So just like you showed your personal bank account statement, if you have a company, you also need to show your company's bank account statement. The day of your visa appointment has arrived and you are ready with all your documents. Make sure you arrive at the visa application center at least 15 minutes before your appointment time, and obviously carry the appointment letter with you. Once they check your appointment letter, you can enter the office and then they'll give you a token. So for example, our token number was AU15, which basically means that we are applying for we are applying through the Austrian embassy, and our waiting number was 15. Then we went inside and we waited for at least 1.5 hours. So make sure you have a phone, laptop or a book with you to pass the time. So on the display screen, they'll keep showing the token number and the counter to which you should report. So once our token got called out, we went to the counter and we submitted all the documents. The lady there, she looked at all our documents and then told us to wait while she cross-verified the documents. Then we waited for another 15 to 20 minutes while she checked our documents, and after 15 minutes she called us back again and said that okay, all your documents are in order. Then we were asked to give a biometric at the same spot. So we gave our biometrics, which is basically we gave our thumb and fingerprints. And after this, we had to pay the visa fees. Paid a visa fees of around 6,600 rupees per person, and this includes a service charge, a courier fee, a courier assurance fee, a convenience fee, and also a SMS fee. You have to register for a courier service. So once your passport is ready, they'll courier your passport to your home, and basically you have to cover the expenses for it. And there's also, like I mentioned, there's also a SMS charge fee of 330 rupees, wherein basically the SMS tracking service gets activated, and you'll get updates as and when your passport is moving. Once you pay the visa fees and submit your passport, that's it, you're done for the day. Make sure you have the receipt handy, because you might need to show it as a proof when your passport is being delivered to your house. In case the embassy feels that they need some supporting documents, then they might call you again, and you'll have to go to the embassy and submit those documents as well. In our case, what happened was we submitted the documents on Friday, and we got a call on Monday morning from the embassy. It was a very normal call, and they just asked us, why do you want to visit Austria, and what are your dates of travel, and which are the other countries that you're planning to visit. It was a very short call, like less than 5 minutes. We gave them the answers and that was it. They did not ask any other detail about any missing documents. So we were hoping and praying that all our documents are in order and they are happy with it. Thursday we got a SMS saying that our passport has been dispatched through Blue Dart, and there was a reference number that they had given. We got our passport delivered on Friday itself, and this is the envelope in which our passport came. And even before you open the envelope, you can actually see whether your visa has been approved or rejected, because along with the passport, in case if your visa has been rejected, they'll also give a letter which mentions the reason behind the rejection, and also it will tell you that you have so many number of days in which you can challenge their decision. So in case if you see that there's a piece of paper along with your passport, then you'll know that unfortunately your application has been rejected. Otherwise, like in our case, we got the stamp on our passport, we got the Austrian visa, we got a multiple entry Schengen visa for 30 days of travel and for a duration of 90 days for basically 3 months. In case your visa gets rejected, make sure you read the letter which explains why your visa got rejected. And in case you feel that you can challenge the decision with the help of supporting documents, then do that. Otherwise, what you can do is wait for 1 or 2 months and then try through a different embassy. The appointment service fees for an Austrian visa costed us 2,280. The visa fees and the courier charges total was 7,919 for one person. The insurance was around 750 rupees for one person. So in all total, for one person it costed us around 11,000 rupees just to apply for one European Schengen visa. And no, you do not get a refund in case your visa gets rejected. It's money down the drain. First tip. There are few countries that have a very low rate of visa rejection. If you do a quick Google search, you can easily see the list of such countries. For example, Luxembourg, Greece, or Finland. Whereas if you see countries like France and Germany, they generally have a high rate of visa rejection. So if possible, try and apply through countries that in general have a history of low visa rejection rate. Tip number 2, be very detailed with your documents and over communicate as much as possible. Be it with your proof of funds or your cover letter or your itinerary. Make sure it's as detailed as possible, and that will definitely strengthen your case with the embassy. Tip number 3, never bluff or misquote any information on your visa application form. You might think that you are smart, but the people sitting at the embassy are way smarter than you. You might get your visa approved this time, but the next time around you apply for the visa and your fraud gets caught, then there are chances that you might get blacklisted. There have been multiple cases wherein people apply through countries that have a low visa rejection rate, get their visa approved, and then change their travel plans and end up not actually visiting those countries. And the next time around when they're applying for a Schengen visa, obviously all your data is with the embassy people, and it gets caught and these people are blacklisted from applying for a Schengen visa for the next few years. So do not bluff and be accurate and true with all your information. So that's it for this video, and this was all the information that you should know while applying for a European Schengen visa. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know if you have any feedback or suggestions in the comment section below. Do consider subscribing to my channel if you like this video, and very soon I'll be back with travel guides for various European countries that we visited, including detailed itineraries, travel expenses, and everything that you need to know for planning that perfect European holiday. So till then, take care and happy traveling.